Elon Musk is betting big on electric cars being the future, but Toyota just dropped a bombshell that might shake things up. They've revealed a new engine that could spell the end of electric vehicles as we know them, an engine that supposedly runs on water. Yep, you heard that right, water. This bold claim seems to throw a wrench in Elon Musk's electric dreams. But can a car really zoom around using just water without any fuel or electricity, and could Toyota's water engine truly wipe out the electric vehicle market? Stick with us as we dive into the latest breakthroughs in car tech and uncover everything about Toyota's game-changing water engine. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the coolest tech updates. The bottom line, I simply want to make every better car no matter what kind of pattern they have. Toyota is shaking up the car world with a wild new idea, a car that runs on water. Picture this. Through a super smart process called electrolysis, this incredible vehicle splits water into hydrogen and oxygen, then uses the hydrogen to power its engine. When the hydrogen and oxygen mix back together, they release energy to zoom the car along, leaving behind nothing but water vapor, no nasty fumes, just clean air. This game changer could help fight global warming and clear up pollution, making driving way kinder to the planet. Toyota says this invention is their ticket to a cleaner, greener future, perfectly in step with the world's push to tackle climate change. Sure, electric cars have been the eco-friendly champs for a while, loved for their zero emissions and ability to charge up with renewable energy, but Toyota's water-powered car brings something totally new to the table. Unlike electric cars that need batteries plugged into the grid, this one runs on water, something we've got plenty of. The electrolysis trick can even be powered by stuff like solar or wind energy, making it super sustainable. Plus, while electric car batteries can be tough on the environment to make and toss out, Toyota's water-powered ride skips that problem entirely. According to Toyota's big boss Hyoki Nakajima, who's the executive vice president and tech wizard, this is the future of travel. He spilled the beans at a recent event in Japan, saying Toyota isn't just about cars anymore, they want to be a mobility company that gives people tons of cool ways to get around. Hyoki wasn't alone on stage. He teamed up with Takahiro Kato, the guy leading Toyota's electric car crew, and Matsumoto Yamagata, who's heading up the hydrogen car squad. As their new factory gets ready to roll, Toyota's already got hydrogen fuel cell cars in the works, which mix hydrogen from onboard tanks with oxygen from the air to create electricity that powers the ride. At the heart of Toyota's water-powered car is a cool gadget called an electrolyzer. This little genius makes the magic happen by turning water into hydrogen super efficiently and safely. It doesn't need a ton of energy, and the best part is it doesn't spit out any nasty stuff, just clean water vapor. Unlike other hydrogen-powered rides, this car doesn't need a big clunky tank to hold the hydrogen. The electrolyzer whips it up right when the car needs it, keeping things light and zippy. To make this work, though, the car's engine needs a bit of a makeover. The fuel injectors, those tiny sprayers that feed fuel into the engine, have to be tweaked to handle hydrogen instead. The engine block and cylinder head need to be beefed up too, since hydrogen burns with some serious pressure. Even the valves and spark plugs get a special upgrade to keep everything running smoothly and safely. We'll dig into the nitty-gritty details of how it all works later. But here's the big win. Toyota's water engine beats other hydrogen motors hands down. Why? Because storing water is a breeze compared to storing hydrogen. Hydrogen's a gas, so it needs heavy, pricey tanks that can handle high pressure, and those can leak, which isn't exactly safe. Water, on the other hand, is a liquid. It's easy to store, doesn't need fancy tanks, and won't cause any headaches. That makes this water engine perfect for everything from tiny cars to giant trucks, even power plants. Its simplicity and safety give it an edge over other engines. Plus, it helps us ditch fossil fuels and cut down on harmful pollution. That's a huge step toward a cleaner, greener future for transportation and energy. But here's a fun twist. Toyota didn't dream this up out of nowhere. Believe it or not, the idea of water-powered vehicles has been around for a while. Before Toyota jumped in, others tried to make cars run on H2O. Turns out this wild idea has some history. Get ready to have your mind blown by some wild claims about water-powered cars. Back in 2008, a Japanese company called Genesis Facts grabbed headlines when they said they'd built a car that ditched gasoline and diesel for plain old water. Talk about a game-changer, cheaper fuel and a happier planet. They claimed their car used a clever system to split water into hydrogen and oxygen, then burned the hydrogen to zoom around. But here's the catch. Experts dug into it and found out the car wasn't just running on water, it needed a special ingredient called metal hydride to work. So not quite the water-only wonder they promised. Genesis facts, led by Jenna Pack, never showed hard proof, and scientists weren't buying it. They pointed out that water's superstable, splitting it into hydrogen and oxygen takes a ton of energy. According to physics, you can't just pull energy out of water for free. It's like trying to squeeze juice from a rock. This wasn't the first time someone tried to sell this dream. In the 1980s, a guy named Stanley Meyer swore he'd made a dune buggy that ran on water. Sounds cool, right? But he never proved it. And in 1996, he got busted for fraud. Jenna Pack's story started sounding a lot like Meyer's, and people raised their eyebrows. Then in 2002, a company called Hydrogen Technology Applications claimed their gadget, the Aquagen, could split water to power cars. They started with welding but soon said it could run vehicles. Scientists weren't impressed. The company later admitted it only made cars more fuel efficient, not water-powered. That same year, Genesis World Energy popped up promising a device that could tap energy from water. They convinced investors to pour in cash, but guess what? No car ever showed up. In 2006, their boss Patrick Kelly landed in jail for fraud. In 2008, the same year Jenna Pack was making waves, a guy from Sri Lanka named Tushara Rilat, a singer, burst onto the scene claiming he'd driven a car 190 miles using just 3 liters of water. That's wild, right? Even Sri Lanka's Prime Minister backed him up. But the excitement didn't last. Tusha got arrested for fraud, and his story turned out to be another overhyped fib. Fast forward to 2022, and an Indonesian man named Ariano Mikul said he'd invented a gadget called the Nakba that could turn water into hydrogen fuel. He bragged it could power motorcycles for 500 kilometers on just 1 liter of water and even claimed big names like Lamborghini and Ferrari were knocking on his door. Scientists in Indonesia weren't having it, though they said it defied the laws of physics. Plus, those fancy car companies weren't actually interested. Ariano's tale started sounding like another big promise with no proof. With all these flops and frauds, it makes you wonder, has someone been trying to hush up water-powered cars on purpose? We can't prove there's a grand conspiracy, but there are some juicy reasons why it might happen. For starters, the fossil fuel industry is a trillion-dollar giant. A water-powered car could flip their world upside down, and these big players have the cash and clout to squash anything that threatens their profits. Think about it. Oil companies might push back hard, spreading doubt or lobbying against tech that could steal their spotlight. Then there's the everyday folks and the media. New ideas like this can sound too good to be true, and let's be honest, water as fuel is tricky to wrap your head around. People might worry about safety or just not get how it works, which can spark bad vibes and slow things down. Big shots in the energy world could even play up those fears to keep control and make sure these wild inventions stay under wraps. Whether it's a cover-up or just tough luck, the dream of water-powered rides keeps hitting roadblocks. Imagine sneaky misinformation campaigns stirring up doubt and fear about new tech, making people hesitant to jump on board. But here comes Toyota, boldly stepping up with their water-powered car plans, and they're backing it up with real science. With their massive influence in the car world, a reputation folks trust, and a treasure chest of resources, Toyota might just turn water vehicles from a crazy rumor into something you'll see on the road. We could be on the brink of a whole new era. Why is Toyota doing this? They're racing to stay on top in a world that's all about clean tech and electric cars. New players like BYD and NIO from China are cranking out electric rides, pushing Toyota to level up their game. They're pouring effort into making their hydrogen tech smarter and greener to keep up with the demand for planet-friendly travel. Looking back, the wild history of water-powered car ideas shows a lot of fizzled claims, but the drive for cleaner energy, that's the real deal. Toyota's already got a hydrogen-powered car called the Mirai rolling around, proving they're serious about a sustainable future. And trust me, there's more exciting stuff on the way. Now let's talk about the big dogs in electric vehicles. China and the US are leading the pack. China's gone all in, pouring money into EV charging stations and factories, making it the biggest electric car market in the world. Companies like BYD, NIO, and XPeng are driving the charge, fueled by government perks, a huge network of chargers, and top-notch manufacturing. China's leaders are dead set on cutting pollution and carbon emissions, so they've slapped on strict rules that give EVs a big boost. Millions of electric cars are flying off the lots every year, and their focus on better batteries and more charging spots keeps them ahead of the game as global EV champs. Over in the United States, big names like Tesla are lighting up the electric vehicle, EV, scene. Led by Elon Musk, Tesla's been a total game-changer with sleek designs, super smart tech, and a giant network of fast charging stations called superchargers. They're constantly pushing the bar higher with better batteries and longer driving ranges. And it's not just Tesla. Classic car giants like General Motors and Ford are jumping in too, rolling out new electric models and pouring tons of money into EV tech. But here's the thing, both the US and China, despite their EV wins, wrestle with some tricky issues. Making and tossing out batteries can be rough on the environment, and they need clean energy to charge those cars. That's where Toyota's water-powered car swoops in with a fresh twist. Instead of relying on big lithium-ion batteries like most electric cars called BEVs, Toyota's cooking up something different: hydrogen fuel cells powered by water. This is a big deal because it sidesteps the environmental headaches of battery production and keeps things super clean by only spitting out water vapor, no nasty pollutants like carbon dioxide or smog-causing stuff from gas-powered cars. Toyota's water engine is like a breath of fresh air compared to fossil fuel rides that churn out harmful emissions. Plus, hydrogen fuel cells have some serious perks over regular EV batteries. For one, filling up a hydrogen tank takes just a few minutes, way faster than the hours it can take to charge a battery. That's a huge win for road trips or anyone who hates waiting around. On top of that, hydrogen packs more energy into less weight than lithium-ion batteries, so you could drive farther on a single tank. And here's the cherry on top: hydrogen can be made using green energy like solar, wind, or hydropower, making the whole setup even more eco-friendly. Toyota's also tackling the tough parts of working with hydrogen, like how to make and store it smartly. Their water-powered car could be the key to unlocking a cleaner, more convenient future for getting around. They've cooked up super efficient electrolysis units, fancy gadgets that turn water into hydrogen with less energy. These units use high-tech catalysts and materials to make the process slicker, paving the way for big-time hydrogen production. And when it comes to storing that hydrogen, Toyota's got it covered with lightweight, tough-as-nails tanks made from cutting-edge composites. These tanks can handle high pressure like champs and come packed with top-notch sensors and safety tricks to stop leaks before they start, keeping everything secure. What about cold weather though? Hydrogen can freeze in super chilly conditions, which could slow the car down. No worries, Toyota's thought of that too. They've added clever heating elements and insulation to their hydrogen storage system, so the car keeps humming along even when it's freezing outside. This makes their hydrogen vehicles ready for action in all kinds of climates. Toyota's also all about going green by using renewable energy like solar, wind, and hydropower to make their hydrogen. That means their water-powered car leaves barely a trace of carbon behind, making it one of the cleanest rides out there. But Toyota's eco-friendly journey didn't just start yesterday. They've been at this for years, leading the charge with hybrid cars and digging into alternative fuels. One cool thing they're exploring is cleaner hydrocarbons. Normally, hydrocarbons are fossil fuels like gasoline and diesel that pump out a ton of carbon emissions, but Toyota's working on synthetic hydrocarbons and biofuels, greener options that don't hit the planet as hard. Synthetic hydrocarbons are made by mixing carbon dioxide and hydrogen into fuel, basically recycling CO2 to cut down the overall carbon mess. Toyota's also digging into biofuels, cool fuels made from stuff like plants, animal waste, algae, and other organic goodies. These biofuels are renewable, meaning we can keep making them without running out, and they're a lot gentler on the planet. Toyota's been pouring time and effort into figuring out how to make biofuels better and sneak them into their cars. It's all about finding quick ways to cut down emissions while the world builds more hydrogen stations and electric charging spots. But that's not all. Toyota's also a superstar in fuel cell tech. At the heart of their green car plans are hydrogen fuel cells, which turn hydrogen gas into electricity by mixing it with oxygen. The only thing that comes out, water vapor. Talk about clean. Toyota started playing with fuel cell ideas way back in the early 90s, and they've come a long way since. Today their fuel cells are smaller, smarter, and cheaper, thanks to slick upgrades in materials, tougher membranes, and better designs. Fun fact, Toyota's got over 5,000 patents on this stuff, covering everything from fuel cell designs to hydrogen storage and production tricks. That's how they're locking in their spot as a big player in the eco-friendly driving game. And here's a shining star in their story. The Mirai launched in 2014. The Mirai, meaning future in Japanese, is the world's first mass-produced hydrogen fuel cell car. It's Toyota's big dream for Sustainable travel wrapped up in one sleek ride. The Mirai's been getting upgrades ever since, showing Toyota's serious about pushing this tech forward. It runs on a hydrogen fuel cell system that makes electricity by mixing hydrogen and oxygen, with a setup that includes a fuel cell stack, the power-making core, high-pressure hydrogen tanks, an electric motor, and a battery to store energy. The result, a car that pumps out electricity and water, vapor, and nothing else. One of the coolest things about the Mirai, it can go a long way on a full tank of hydrogen and fills up super fast, way quicker than charging an electric car. The Mirai is a real champ. It can zip over 300 miles on a single tank of hydrogen, matching what a lot of gas-powered cars can do. And here's the best part, refueling it takes just 5 minutes. That's way quicker than charging an electric car, making the Mirai a super handy pick for anyone who wants to go green without slowing down. Plus, it's a total win for the planet since it only puffs out water vapor. There's no dirty exhaust messing up the air or adding to greenhouse gases. Toyota's working hard to get the Mirai into more hands. They've been tweaking how they build it to cut costs and making more of them to bring the price down. They're also teaming up with others to build more hydrogen refueling stations, so drivers won't have to hunt for a place to fill up. But Toyota's not stopping at the Mirai. They're taking hydrogen power to buses and trucks too. These big rigs show how versatile hydrogen can be, offering clean, efficient rides for city transit and heavy-duty jobs, slashing carbon emissions even more. And there's more. Toyota's dreaming beyond cars. They're using hydrogen fuel cells to power things like generators and energy systems for buildings, data centers, and other spots. It's a reliable green energy source that shows hydrogen's got potential way beyond the road. Toyota's big picture plan is all about building a sustainable future, mixing awesome vehicles with the right fueling setups and clean energy sources. So how does this hydrogen magic work? It's pretty cool. Inside Toyota's hydrogen fuel cell vehicles like the Mirai, hydrogen from the tank mixes with oxygen from the air in a chemical reaction that whips up electricity to power the car. It's a smart, clean way to drive without hurting the environment. A key player in this setup is a gadget called an electrolyzer, which helps make it all happen smoothly. It takes water made of hydrogen and oxygen atoms stuck together and splits it apart using electricity. This happens with two metal pieces called electrodes dipped in the water. When electricity flows through, it breaks the water molecules. Hydrogen heads to the negative electrode, the cathode, and oxygen goes to the positive one, the anode. It's safe, efficient, and only makes hydrogen and oxygen, no nasty stuff. The hydrogen then powers the car's fuel cell, turning into electricity that drives the motor and spins the wheels. A power control unit keeps everything running smoothly, juggling electricity from the fuel cell and battery for zippy acceleration and smart braking. The fuel cell stack mixes hydrogen and oxygen in a special reaction that creates electricity, straight up DC power. An inverter flips it into AC power to run the car's motor. When you hit the brakes, the motor turns into a mini generator, grabbing energy from the slowdown and storing it in the battery. This trick boosts efficiency and makes driving even smoother. Now about that electrolysis, it's not perfect. Older systems only turn 60 to 70% of the energy into hydrogen, losing the rest as heat. But thanks to snazzy new materials, better catalysts, and some clever tweaks, modern setups hit 80% or more. Once the hydrogen's ready, the fuel cell uses it to make electricity at about 50 to 60% efficiency. Put it all together and the whole process from water to will power lands at around 40 to 50% efficiency. That might sound low, but here's the kicker: hydrogen packs a big energy punch, giving fuel cell cars like Toyota's a longer range than most battery electric vehicles. BEVs and Toyota's not stopping there. Under their big slogan, "Let's change the future of cars," they're rolling out a bunch of cool new tech to turn themselves into a full-on mobility company, not just a car maker. Toyota's got big dreams for hydrogen, and they're going all in. They predict that by 2030, Europe, China, and North America will be the top dogs in the hydrogen game, with the fuel cell market ballooning to around 5 trillion yen. That's about £5.7 billion a year. To grab a big slice of that pie, Toyota's rolling out some exciting plans. Starting in July 2024, they're opening a shiny new hydrogen factory to make everything about fuel cells faster and smarter. This place will handle development, production, and sales all under one roof, so decisions happen quick and everything works together like a dream. Their strategy's got three big parts. First, they're setting up shop in key spots like Europe and China, tailoring their tech to what each region needs. Second, they're teaming up with top partners to make fuel cells cheaper and easier to get. Third, they're pushing the pedal on next-gen fuel cell tech to make it better and more competitive. Think cutting the cost of fuel cell stacks by 50% and slashing next-gen system costs by 37%. If they can snag orders for 200,000 units by 2030, Toyota says costs could drop another 50%. Locking in solid profits while keeping customers and governments happy. They're also tackling the pricey side of making hydrogen by working with partners to streamline production, transport, and use. One cool idea: in Thailand, they're turning chicken manure and food scraps into biogas to whip up hydrogen. Talk about creative and green. Toyota's teaming up with Mitsubishi, Coca-Cola Corp, and Toyota Tsusho Corporation to push hydrogen further. They've built a new water electrolyzer borrowing tricks from the Mirai to make hydrogen and designed a multi-tank system that fits all kinds of vehicles even. Converting older ones to run on hydrogen for big rigs. Toyota's working on hydrogen-powered trucks, standardizing tank sizes to cut costs and testing liquid hydrogen tanks. They've also rolled out a hydrogen engine car in Japan licensed for public roads to speed up the shift to carbon-neutral driving. Plus Toyota's partnering with others to make hydrogen cheaper and more available worldwide. Soon cars might really run on water. Will this spell the end for electric cars? Tell us what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and check out our next video. You'll love it.